Behind closed doors this morning, lawmakers finally sat face to face with Epstein's survivors. Hours of testimony, stories that Congress can't pretend it hasn't heard anymore. And when the doors opened, that's when the real show began. I'm Michael Fanone, and this is the Michael Fanone Show. What happened in that room was supposed to be sober, bipartisan, and private. Members were told to listen, not posture. The briefing came after weeks of pressure to release thousands of pages of records tied to Epstein's network. Some of those records are already public, some still sealed. Survivors came to force lawmakers to cut through the red tape. Think about it. A rare, closed-door meeting where the most powerful people in Washington can't talk over survivors, can't spin in real time. For once, they were locked in a room with no cameras, no aides whispering lines into their ears, just the raw accounts of women who've carried this trauma for years. And for an hour and a half or so, that silence held. No sound bites, no grandstanding, just listening. Outside, reporters circled, waiting. Leadership staffers rehearsed lines they thought their bosses would say. Everyone braced for the predictable. Solemn statements, calls for accountability, and then back to business as usual. But the longer the doors stayed shut, the more the tension built. Members slipped out in twos and threes, faces tight, saying nothing. Then, the first microphones caught them. Some stammering, some dodging. It didn't look like politics as usual. It looked like people who had just been hit with something they weren't ready for. That's when it became clear. The real story of the day wasn't happening inside the briefing. It was what spilled out into the hall the moment it ended. The reveal wasn't in the files, it was in the faces. Members streaming out, shaken, scattered, sometimes visibly rattled. You saw Representative Nancy Mace bolt early, later admitting she had a panic attack hearing the testimony. Whatever your thoughts on her politics, that was not staged. That was a human response to human suffering. She was clearly, genuinely upset. Others tried to look composed, but couldn't hide how heavy it hit them. Some leaders clung to talking points. Others looked like they wanted to be anywhere but in front of a microphone. And a handful leaned into outrage, almost rehearsed, trying to prove they get it now. Those reactions told you more about the weight of the scandals than any press release, because in those moments, lawmakers couldn't hide behind staff or redactions. They had to show their gut response to what they just heard. That's the story today. Not the stale files, not the press conferences scheduled for next week. It's the crack in the facade. Lawmakers forced to feel, to respond, to drop the mask for just a second. The question now, does that human reaction translate into real action? Or do we chalk it up as just another day of outrage before the cameras, with survivors still waiting for the truth to come out clean? Today's meeting pulled the curtain back. The words may fade, but the faces of those lawmakers walking out, shaken, startled, sometimes scared, tell you everything. The only thing left is to see whether Congress moves past hallway sound bites and actually delivers justice.